You will own nothing and be happy. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. So this is a response video from a video I did earlier today, and let's just jump right into this one. So someone sent a comment saying you will own nothing and be happy. My response was, please expand, and I also hearted their comments so they would know that, you know, I want you to expand. So they did expand, and they said a handful of things. So let's check out their comment here.
We are systematically being led into owning nothing and leaving nothing to our kids, renting everything, dependence of the government. There's nothing I can really explain to ya. It's just gonna take more years of life experiences. You'll get it one day. Don't take this the wrong way, please. I very much enjoy your channel and views of a city person. If I saw you in the streets, I would definitely say hey, and hope you nothing but the best life, man. They'd have to be them streets of all rural Alabama though. The West Coast just ain't safe anymore for a middle-aged farmer with a family, socially or financially. Have a great
day, Jay. So let's just talk about this for a second, because I definitely hear people say that, you know, we are being, you know, led to owning anything. And, you know, this brings up a really, really interesting topic. If you look at a lot of young kids today, like let's just take some young kids living in California. If you take young kids living in California, holy cow, the price of a house is wicked expensive. So a lot of young kids in California probably won't own a house. They'll probably just rent. And if you look at the history of the US, if you look at how, you know, home ownership was a big thing, and having your own car was a big thing, and having a family was a thing, and having, you know, a job working for a factory was a big thing. These things are just not, that's just not how that's just not the same. That's just, things are not that way anymore. And I know a lot of people are, you know, wishing that things would just go back the other way. And a lot of older people are saying, you know, this is how it used to be when I was a kid, and this is how it should be when our kids are, you know, when our kids are around. But that's just simply not how it happens. That's just simply how not things work. You know, things change. I know people that still write checks today, but then I also know people that don't write checks. They pay everything on the internet. And I also know people that say, I wouldn't pay anything on the internet because I'm gonna get scammed if I, you know, pay my, you know, water bill on the internet. I'm gonna get scammed if I pay my phone bill on the internet. But I know people that have never ever paid a phone bill, you know, not using the internet. You know, I know people that have never ever wrote a check to pay a phone bill, because why would you write a check to pay a phone bill when it's so much like easier, it's so much faster, so much quicker, so much simpler to just go ahead and, you know, just pay on the internet. However, there's a lot of people that disagree with this. You will own nothing and you will be happy. You know, a lot of young people look at this, and this is not really a bad thing. A lot of young people look at owning things, they kind of look at it as a bit of their freedom being taken away. Now, if you talk to someone who's in their 50s or 60s, they're going to completely disagree with you, because people in their 50s and 60s, they were the type that was used to having a job for 30 years, right? They were the type that was used to, you know, owning a home and staying in this home for 30 years and having a family, right? You talk to a lot of young kids today, they don't necessarily are jumping up and down to have a family, right? Not all young kids, not like it was like 30, 40 years ago. You also look at ownership, right? You look at ownership and you look at how the internet has changed things so much. Now, 30 years ago, it would make a lot of sense to just, you know, own a house and just, you know, be in one location, especially if you got a family, especially if you're married. But if you look at a lot of young people today, that's just not the case, yo. That is not the case. Like, a lot of young people are not married. A lot of young people are, you know, they want the freedom and the flexibility. They don't want to be stuck in one place. If you move to San Francisco, you might move here and live here and work here for 4 or 5 years, and then you want to take off. And is it worth like you know, going through the hassle of owning a place and, you know, putting down this massive, you know, down payment? And yeah, you own a place, and yeah, that's good, you own a place, but is it really worth it when you can have the freedom and flexibility to move around? I think a lot of things are going to change for our generation in the future. Back to this whole statement, you will own anything and you will be happy. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a prediction. You look at a company like Airbnb. A company like Airbnb, this is not financial advice, but I believe companies like Airbnb are only gonna grow and they're only gonna get more successful in the future. And you're gonna have landlords, people that would go to Craigslist and they would, rent their apartment on Craigslist. They're gonna be going to Airbnb and they're gonna be renting their places on Airbnb. And people are gonna be, renting places to Airbnb. And in the future, I believe more and more people will do things like, oh, I'm gonna live here for 1 year, and then I'm gonna move over here and I'm gonna live here in 1 year. And I think this is gonna be the case because possibly jobs, right? Now, I know a lot of jobs can be remote, but there are a bunch of jobs that are not remote, And I think that there's gonna be like more temporary jobs in the future. And if there's more temporary jobs in the future, like why own anything? And then back to owning anything. Everybody just can't own anything, yo. Owning is very expensive. Look at wages. Like look at the average incomes. Like these things are not going up. And I know a lot of people can just point the fingers and say, oh yeah, this is the system, we need to change the system. Okay, when you guys figure out a way to change the system where it just works equally for everyone, let me know. Like for real, like let me know when you figure out like the system that this magical system that's gonna work for everyone, because I hear about this all the time, but I don't know. When is it gonna happen? Like, you're gonna, I don't know about this magical system, yo. So back to leaving nothing to our kids, okay? Now, this is gonna vary. This is gonna vary based on a lot of different things. Cause right now, I know some friends back home that they've, got, inheritance from their parents, right? And they're living different now than they were like 10 years ago. Right? I definitely know, people who have, maybe their family had it set up where when they hit like 35 years old, they get like a big chunk of money. I've definitely, seen friends that this has happened to. I've seen friends that, they've received houses. However, this is not everyone, right? This is not everyone. And to say that, no, we're not going to leave anything to our kids, I just think we're gonna leave different things to our kids instead of leaving a house, instead of leaving houses and cars to our kids. Because come on, leaving a house is pretty cool to leave to your kids because that's something they can live in. But leaving a car to your kids is like, yeah, it's cool to leave a car to your kids, but leaving a house is so much better than a car. I just think in the future it's just gonna be more digital assets and Bitcoin and stocks. You're gonna leave that to your friends and you're gonna leave that to your family when you die. I mean, with the whole housing market, who knows how this is gonna play out. Maybe there will be a big tiny home movement in the future, and the tiny home movement will take off, and that could very well crash home values, and that could sort of change the playing fields for people to like live cheaper or maybe own something. But because like right now, you just look at like some of the average prices and you look at incomes and then also inflation, and it's like it doesn't look good. So like I think renting is going to be a bigger thing in the future. And then also look at relationships, yo. Look at relationships. Relationships tell a lot about the future, right? I think that there's going to be a lot of single people in the future. A lot of single people. And if you go back to the 1940s, it was a lot of married people. Like it was just very common to be married when you're 25, Like you don't want to be single, you want to be married, you want to be locked down, you want to have some kids, right? Well, that's not the case today. And since people are not coming together, well, it's better to have two incomes to buy a house. So you're gonna have less people purchasing homes because less people are together. With this whole new social media movement and like how dating has changed, and like you got dating apps, we got apps like OnlyFans. Dating has really changed, and a lot has changed. Like relationships have changed. People don't care about marriage anymore like they used to, and I'm not bashing this, this person at all for leaving this comment. I'm just giving, a different perspective from, someone that's a little bit younger and someone who sees the world a little bit different. Because I would imagine a lot of older people do follow my channel, and then a lot of older people, you've already lived your life, and you've already, this is how it should be, and this is how it should be. But there's a lot of young people out there that think that things should be a lot different. And if you talk to young people that are even younger than me, they're gonna tell you things should be a whole lot different. They're gonna tell you things should be like, we shouldn't have mom and dad anymore, and it should just be, a single person and all that. Like it's just gonna be different when you talk to young people. It's just gonna be very, very different from the older generation, because the older generation they've lived their life and they've seen They've seen the way life has changed, and the younger people, you know, a lot of us haven't lived as long, so we haven't seen, you know, so we just see the future, and the future is different for someone who has lived like a long time in life and they've experienced a lot in their life. They view the future different than someone who's younger and they haven't lived that long. And the young people see the future completely different. This is why young people don't really care that much about privacy. I know a lot of older people, they're very uptight about privacy, and there's just a lot of young people, privacy is just not that big of a deal. And the more open you are, the better it is, because the more open you are, the more honest you are, you know. And a lot of older people, they have a lot of skeletons in the closet. Like, I know a lot of young people, like I know this one couple, right? And they've been married, and the husband likes guys, right? And the husband just told the wife, like, look, like, I like guys. And like, the wife is completely cool with that, right? Completely cool with it, okay? That's the young generation for you. But the older generation, you know, you may have someone that they've been married to their wife for 20 years and they secretly are obsessed with other men, right? And, you know, they secretly lust over other men all the time, but they're married to their wife, you know. And then, you know, they're not gonna come out and say, hey, I'm secretly obsessed with men. Their wife's gonna freaking flip out, you know. It's the older generation versus the younger generation for you, you know. Younger generation are a whole lot more open and a whole lot more out there, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I don't know. Once again, I wasn't trying to, you know, call out this person for leaving this comment. I actually really appreciate this comment because it was very different. And you know, this, I guess this guy's a middle-aged farmer, from Alabama. So, wow, I'm sure a middle-aged farmer from Alabama is gonna have a completely different perspective from some, you know, crazy person in the city that, you know, rides electric vehicles and makes money on social media and stuff like that. You know, leaving stuff to the family. You know, I wonder quite a bit about farming in the future, like, you know, because there's a lot of farming families. Like, what will that be like? Will it be less farming families? Will it be more, you know, hopefully it's more indoor farming, you know, so things don't have to travel as far. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Thanks all for watching. Just want to respond to this comment. If you guys like the response to comment videos and you want me to make more of these, let me know in the comments below. And if you watch to the end of this video, I want you to put 13 down in the comments. And thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, y'all.